soldier, we are leaving!
Following its debut in 2003, Call of Duty quickly ascended to become the best-selling first-person shooter series, well, ever. A title it continues to hold to this day, and it's no surprise given the amount of games as well. While that's almost entirely down to its ever-popular multiplayer, which keeps fans playing day in, day out, there are of course two sides to Call of Duty. Standing side by side, the PvP are the single-player campaigns, which, for those of us a little unwilling to huck ourselves into the online hellhole and compete in the Call of Duty combat cauldron, tell cinematic stories straight from the front line. But which Call of Duty games have the greatest campaigns? Well, IGN's keenest and most experienced Call of Duty fans have combined to carve out a list of our favourite single-player stories, plucked from all throughout the series' 2-decade and change history. We're looking for campaigns that champion Call of Duty's greatest strengths, those with great mission variety, ambitious set pieces and novel mechanics, as well as the more traditional great FPS stables like strong level design and memorable storytelling. Only the campaigns that have it all can truly rise to the top of the list, which means this year's somewhat muddled Black Ops 7 didn't quite make the cut. But which ones did? Here are our top 10 Call of Duty campaigns. After nearly a decade break from the setting that launched the series and a few rocky entries that tarnished its reputation, Call of Duty's return to form in 2017 was such a coming home party for the franchise. They straight up named the game World War II. But this return to roots, led by Sledgehammer Games, isn't exactly the greatest hits of World War II experience you would imagine. Instead, you're met with a much more intimate story about Private Red Daniels and his squad living through some of the most pivotal moments of the US 1st Infantry Division's fight, from the Normandy invasion to the Rhine. Clearly inspired by Band of Brothers, right down to its cutscene direction and squad system that makes each team member feel more than a background actor. It successfully evokes the camaraderie and sacrifice of the era. But while it strives to be a personal story, it never lets you forget it's supposed to be a loud, exciting Call of Duty game. To this day, World War II features some of the most over-the-top sequences ever seen in the series. From the bell tower collapse,
Oh, Jesus!
to the train crash. If you're looking for thrills, they're sure to be found. And while those wild moments often make you forget about the war going on around you, World War II still has plenty of well-worn heart to give, especially when it ends with one of the most gut-wrenching walks you'll ever make in a video game.
These were our guys.
Take out your camera. The world's gotta know.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Where are they broadcast?
I don't know anything about any numbers!
Call of Duty Black Ops brought the powerhouse first-person shooter series to the Bay of Pigs, Vietnam, and beyond for a very trigger-happy espionage-filled trip through the 60s, bringing one of the series' best-ever soundtracks along with it. Black Ops took you on a dizzying ride that culminated in one of the coolest, unexpected twists in any major game around that time, and certainly the biggest Call of Duty story surprise we'd seen prior to that or since. The genius of that twist does disguise some of Black Ops' shortcomings. It's nowhere near as varied as the Modern Warfare games that preceded it, and its straight-up shooting galleries feel less ambitious than the sniper sequences and AC-130 bombardments that sister studio Infinity Ward was putting out. However, it's undeniable that Treyarch absolutely leveled up on this one, turning its work on the impressive World at War into a stealth prologue to a brand new sub-franchise that would become one of the biggest brands in the world. Blops started right here. After messing around in both the near and not so near future, Black Ops finally returned to good old-fashioned MK Ultra flavored conspiracies with Cold War's brisk trip back to 1981. While it resurrects some familiar faces with Mason and Woods, the story's primary focus is on series newcomers Bell and Russell Adler and their time in the CIA during one of the most critical moments in US intelligence history. Despite suffering a troubled development, Cold War is an ambitious remix of the standard series formula, with mystery puzzles to crack, secret side quests, branching pathways, and a couple of missions where you trade your guns in favor of some good old-fashioned retro spycraft. Even when it's playing the classic hold down the trigger hits though, it does so in excellent fashion. A gunfight through a USSR replica of an American town is a romp, and its own take on Black Ops' mind-melting finale is arguably better than the original. It may be one of Call of Duty's shortest campaigns, but this entry into the Black Ops series offers plenty of memorable moments that will keep you guessing until the credits roll. The original PC exclusive Call of Duty was an excellent first-person shooter with a neat campaign formula. It depicted the Second World War from 3 perspectives: American, British, and Russian, essentially creating 3 mini-campaigns, each with their own characters, storylines, and locations, plus weapons. Call of Duty 2 did all that again on a bigger budget. Naturally, that meant much more advanced graphics, including volumetric smoke effects so gorgeously rendered that smoke grenades became both a gameplay mechanic and a next-gen tech toy to play with. Call of Duty 2's success helped kickstart Microsoft's incredibly successful Xbox 360 era, and ushered in a glorious new HD era of gaming as well, and at 60 FPS no less. But this sequel also brought with it increased cinematic ambition when it came to level design, something you can clearly see in its D-Day landing sequence, which genuinely felt like a playable manifestation of Saving Private Ryan. And in its wilder, more freeform choose-your-objective levels, you can see the start of Call of Duty's long-term fight to include non-linear elements in an otherwise tightly controlled roller coaster ride campaign. Okay, it's a risky move to reboot one of the most beloved and essential games in a mega popular franchise like Call of Duty, but 2019's Call of Duty Modern Warfare pulled it off in such a way that few reboots have done before. Built on a foundation of fresh-feeling gunplay, even the campaign's least interesting missions feel exceptional to play. And while its time-worn setting during a Middle Eastern conflict isn't groundbreaking, exceptional attention to detail when it comes to presentation makes this perhaps the slickest, most cinematic Call of Duty ever made. The real winning factor, though, is its superb approach to level design. Modern Warfare trades the series' traditional relentless shootouts for smaller, more realistic encounters, a shift that resulted in Clean House, one of the most memorable depictions of a slow-paced build and infiltration we've ever seen in the series thus far. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is not only one of the best examples of how to reboot a series correctly, but also an excellent entry in a series full of memorable campaigns. World at War was Call of Duty's first return to the 1940s, following just one Modern Warfare game and arrival only 2 years after it was last on the Western Front. In an effort to demonstrate this wasn't a retread of what had come before, developer Treyarch relocated the action to the humid Pacific theater and doubled down on the horrors of war. Unpredictable kamikaze attacks and a grisly new gore system make this one of Call of Duty's darkest chapters. As previously mentioned, World at War would eventually be retconned into a prequel for Black Ops, something made possible by the presence of Gary Oldman's Viktor Reznov, who leads the second half of this campaign.
Relax for a few minutes. Breathe deeply.
A journey across the Eastern Front, from the miserable trenches of Stalingrad to storming the Reichstag. Together, World at War's two halves paint a bleaker, more interesting picture of Call of Duty's original conflict. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare came just as fans' patience for the series' push into sci-fi territory had broken, which is unfortunate because COD's purest sci-fi adventure is a well-written, varied shooter campaign with some of the best acting in the series. You play as the newly promoted Reyes, who somewhat reluctantly must take command of a United Nations spaceship in the war against Game of Thrones' Kit Harington. Yes, really, that does happen.
This place isn't yours anymore.
As by the numbers as this sounds, Infinite Warfare is actually a surprisingly personal story, dealing with the toll of leadership and the actions of friends who truly care for each other. It all creates what we believe is the Halo reach of Call of Duty campaigns. If you know, you know.
Target is marked. Fire on my position.
Reyes, get the hell out of there!
Powering all that is an ambitiously structured campaign accessed from a Mass Effect-ish galaxy map with main missions and side quests. Each will see you not only blasting foes apart with suitably chunky feeling weapons, but also hacking robots, infiltrating freighters, and piloting fighter ships as part of thrilling space dogfights. Infinite Warfare is definitely one of the campaigns you should give a second look if the hard sci-fi setting turned you off the first time around. You won't regret it.
Vector for forces are responding. Prepare for contact.
Cold War's ambitious remix of the Call of Duty campaign fully matured in Black Ops 6, which is undoubtedly the series' most varied single-player offering. Every mission is a fully formed, unique concept, from social stealth operations and open-world hunting grounds to undercover infiltrations and literal monsters and secret labs. Yep, this chapter of the Black Ops saga goes places, and while it's a world away from the more authentic Cold War, it's undeniable that this is one of Call of Duty's most fun and interesting campaigns. This is also Call of Duty's best example of flexibility and player choice. Many of those aforementioned missions are crafted to allow multiple solutions to their problems. That can be as simple as choosing your own route through a number of objectives, but often goes as far as supporting stealth or aggressive playstyles with appropriate enemy AI responses, and even bribing your way to success. Between BLOP 6 and Cold War, developer Raven Software has proven that Call of Duty is capable of so much more than satisfying snappy gunplay. Infinity Ward's follow-up to its powerhouse leap into the modern era did not disappoint. The original Modern Warfare 2 delivered exactly what players wanted: more, and more of Soap and Captain Price's explosive antics. This elevated the epic scope of the series higher than it had ever been before, and saw Russia quite literally knock on the US's front door. The result is a collection of Hollywood-grade missions, from snowmobile escapes to gulag breakouts, suburban shootouts, and a fight for the White House itself. This was also the time when Call of Duty really pushed its limits when it came to shocking story twists. Turncoat villains, returning heroes, and its controversial airport terrorist attack all made Modern Warfare 2 one of the most talked about shooters of its era. This was the Call of Duty campaign that couldn't be missed. This campaign remains one of the most thrilling in not just Call of Duty's library, but first-person shooter history. Call of Duty was already big before Modern Warfare arrived in 2007, but when the fourth mainline game in the franchise time jumped its settings from World War II into the modern era, it also launched it from a blockbuster series into the blockbuster series. Call of Duty became the #1 first-person shooter with this release, and for a very good reason. This is the campaign that gave us the unmatched sniper tension of All Gillied Up, reinvented the on-rails turret section with an eerie aerial bombardment in Death from Above, and quite literally blew us away in the harrowing nuclear detonation of Shock and Awe. Individually, these are landmark missions, but it's the expert manner in which they are arranged to create a campaign that undulates between nail-biting tension and explosive strikes that elevate Modern Warfare's campaign above all others. All these years later, its greatest hits remain the greatest hits. Simply put, it's the king of Call of Duty campaigns. So, those are IGN's most beloved Call of Duty campaigns, but what are yours? Do you still love United Offensive, even though there's very little chance anyone under 35 knows what you're talking about? Do you love Ghosts and its revolutionary fish tech? And are you prepared to admit that in front of your friends and peers? Let us know in the comments below, and for everything Call of Duty and more, you're already in the right place with IGN.